No, it's been a little rough, as you guys can imagine. It looks like, by Thursday or Friday, I might be able to go home or play it by ear. I just got a notification from Florida Power and Light that there was extensive damage to some equipment. I don't know if it's on the backside of my property or down the line or whatever. They don't explain it. They just say that there was more damage, and they'll keep me posted on everything. So we'll see what's what later today or tomorrow. Good morning, Pale Rider. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see you. Today's nice. It's nice and cool. It probably won't be this way for long. That's why I decided to come a little early. Hey, Carla. I may see the pink shirt works better for reading the green print, because on my end it's green for all of you that are members, and I can't read your names. So it's nice to see you, Carla, Amanda, Melanie. The real me too. Good morning. I'm going to be talking about you. Miss Lee, mom of 3. It's nice to see you, my love. Southern Grammy, it's nice to see you as well. Don, Mary, Des, Zuzu, good morning. Oh, Brent, it's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well today. Bobby, Denise, it's nice to see you. Monica, good morning as well. Shelly, Kendra, good morning. Cheyenne, it's nice to see you. It's nice to see you all here this morning. We're just getting kind of started on our day. It's been a little, rough to say the least. I'm trying to request a continuance in the case of, Queen Bee because of the extensive damage. It's been very hard on me to do legal research without power. You guys know how many days I spent trying to clean the yard up, which was finally completed on October 6th. Just for me to leave on October 7th and come back to my house being 10 times worse, or 100 times worse, because I've got like 5 different down trees in my backyard. I'm trying to stipulate and come to an agreement with her attorney, and her shyster attorney, once again, just wants to fight and make a judge a babysitter because he can't come to an agreement. So talk about just, crap people, just crap people all the way around. It's like, I don't wish this on anybody, and it's like at this point I do. I wish it on them. I wish they have to experience all of this for themselves, and maybe one day they will, and karma will bite them both in their ass. But either way, we'll get before a judge. I got to call the courthouse today and try to have the judge find 10 minutes, somewhere in a schedule that this shyster attorney will agree to, because he seems so busy when there's emergency. He wants me to always bow down to him, but whenever I ask him for something in good faith, he wants to fight me tooth and nail. But what do you expect from pieces of shit? Anyways, that's kind of where we are right now on that case. I don't know if I'm going to be there on November 15th. I've got a lot of repairs to do to the outside of the house. I've got a lot of cleanup to do to the outside of the house. I'm 100% responsible for that, and I can be cited if it's not clean, and we are in a state of emergency. So I think the law will prevail here. They may adjust. I'm asking for 45 days. He might give me 30, which would be, any time would be welcomed at this point. But I did offer, what would the opposing counsel be agreeing to, because we've had 2 major hurricanes hit our area and destroy my community. We're still down about 60% of this county doesn't have power. I don't even know what the internet situation is, but people have power but no internet. So, it's just being very difficult. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with today, but we always deal with it with a smile, right? This too shall pass. We'll get through this, and I know that there's a ray of sunshine on the other side of this. If I lived closer, I would help clean up in a heartbeat from the hurricane. Yeah, and that's the problem. Like, even now, there's so much damage here. Even the volunteers are working on the most damaged properties. So it's hard because we've got, there's houses that are uprooted. There are, we had fatalities. We had fatalities right on the street behind me from this hurricane. And it's really, really sad. But we're here, so we should be thankful for that, Hey guys, Delilah's inside with Mama Bullhorn. Gamzee, that's what I call her, Gamzee. Hey Angel, good morning Sonia. It's nice to see you guys. I hope you guys are doing well. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about Leilani Simon and Quinton Simon, another case that we covered very intensely. This was a case that rocked the nation. It disturbed people of that community. People of that community rose up. We were able to be out there to capture it. We decided to do some activism ourselves and advocacy for this young man, especially in light of a police chief allowing a woman to lay in her bed after she beat her child to death and threw him away like garbage. 20 months old, not even 2 years old. And from what everybody says about this boy, even in all of that abuse, he always tried to smile and always seemed to be happy. And people don't understand it. And these were from the same yahoos that are causing problems in the Sebastian Rogers case. They turned it into a circus, much like they have done in the Sebastian Rogers case. They didn't care that this was a 20-month-old. They called us a liar. They said that he probably drowned in a tub or in the pool. And we told people, no, that's not true. He was unalived by his mother's hands. And lo and behold, once again, we were right on the facts about the case, while the yahoos and the circus creators were wrong and have always been wrong since any of these cases have come out, because they're not here to advocate or inform people about the facts of the case. They're only here to distract and cause problems in the case, or give the bad actors, the people that murder their children, a way out, or so much of a circus that it makes it more difficult for them to be charged. And I want you guys to think about that. That would make it more difficult to charge a murderer of a 20-month-old child. And that's what these people like Queen Bee do in their organizations and all of their tentacles that they have. So this is a problem, but moreover, we're learning some very disturbing details. Some of the photos that they did show to the public were highly disturbing for me. Seeing blood on a little blanket, seeing blood on a PlayStation, listening to her lies over and over and over again to law enforcement about how she didn't have anything to do with this or anything like that. Hey Clarissa, it's nice to see you this morning. I'm so sorry. I'm like, because I was wearing your shirt yesterday. I'm like, I said, I wonder if she's got a little shirt thing. So I appreciate those shirts so much. They're great. They are absolutely great. I love the true crime. Be honest with you. Let's be honest. I love the MAGA Bullhorn Betty 2024 shirt, right? How could I say I don't, right? And then the true crime addict, or true crime and coffee, or coffee and true crime. I can't remember the shirt name until I put it on, but I do appreciate it. I did post her, if you guys would like to check out her Facebook shop, I did post it on a couple of our channels, our Facebook channels. I don't have it accessible to me right at the moment. Usually I can do it when I have a computer, so I do appreciate it, but I will post it. Thank you so much, Clarissa. And I'm sorry for missing all your emails. I went to look for you and I'm like, oh, this is not read. Oh, this is not read. And I'm like, yeah, sorry. Thank you so much, my love. Thank you. Anyways, this was a case where we heard that a child was missing, much like Sebastian Rogers. And we went into the community with wanting to know. Actually, at this time, we had already had a lot of information fed to us. If I recall everything, let me just back up a little bit. If I recall everything, we were covering the case at the house, and then it was like something was going on with this case, and I wanted to know what truly was going on, because I was starting to blame the mom, Leilani Simon. And if they had been responsible for a 20-month-old child, I had already said I wasn't planning on protesting or anything like that. I was just going to cover the story. I wanted to cover the arrest, the actual arrest of them walking her out of the house. That's truly one of the reasons why I went there to begin with. So we set up shop on the public roadway where law enforcement told us we could set up, where media could set up and stuff like that, and we were covering the case. And then of course, as we were covering the case and talking into the phone and into the camera and explaining what was going on at the grounds, because we learned within 24 hours how hostile and abusive she was specifically, and I want to say that again, specifically to Quinton, not Zane, not Sky, Quinton. And that's what was told to us. For example, here's one good example of why we came to the conclusion that we had come to. So we had an opportunity to speak with a few people in the community. And when we had an opportunity to speak with them, they gave us some really disturbing information. Here's one of them, that Zane got his brother Quinton, and they basically ran away from home and ran over to the babysitter's house. Okay, these are young children. Young children don't typically run away. What they do is they go to safety, right? Because they're young children, they don't understand. They just know they don't need to be here, they need to be there. And so Zane got Quinton and had him go over to the babysitter's house. Well, Leilani woke up, found out the children weren't home, found out the children were at the babysitter's house. And when she found out what happened, that Zane is the one that brought Quinton to the home, she hit Quinton so hard in the face that he fell backwards and hit his head on the concrete, and she busted his lip. This was only one of many stories that we learned within 24 hours of that. And of course, me being analytical and following the leads, to me, the deductive reasoning would be that this child had been abused. Obviously, that was a severe, significant abuse allegation of such a young child, because he wasn't 20 months old at this event. He was more in line with being maybe 15 months old, or even maybe just able to walk at the time that this incident had happened. And so we have this incident along with multiple other incidents, along with multiple other neighbors coming to us and telling us that they've seen this child walking down the road all alone. Now, mind you, he's not even 2 years old yet. One neighbor even described having Quinton in his home, or in his yard, didn't know where he came from, and he ended up having to watch this child for 30 minutes before somebody even noticed this child was gone and came and got this child. These are just a few of the apparently the gray heron wants to say hi to you all. It's like little trumpets. Anyways, that was just one. Those are just a few examples of the abuse that we heard about related to this child, and it was very clear to us that this child most likely did not die from a pool. And one of the reasons why I didn't think that this child died drowning in a pool or a bathtub, and she just covering up an accident, was because it was clear that this child had not had a lot of supervision for much of his upbringing, and he never drowned previously. But he had been abused. So, no. They must be in the front of the house. They must be in the front of the house or flying. I got a lot of ducks. Like, I'm looking at like a whole school of ducks out here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 little ducks. Going through the yard right now, picking at the grass, either drinking or eating or something, whatever they're eating on the ground. Maybe it's worms or bugs, I don't know. Hello, it's nice to see you. And so, while we were there, she was named as a suspect as they were starting to go into the landfill. I had spoken prior to them initiating the landfill search, explaining to my audience the logistics of landfills. A lot of people don't realize the logistics of landfills are pretty good. They can tell you exactly where the trash is dumped, so to speak. They have a huge logistical program that they know exactly this part of the county is dumped in this area. But the problem is that it's a lot of trash. Even if you know where it could be or what part of that pile a person could be in, it's still, you're dealing with crushing, it's awful. When we start explaining it, it makes my heart hurt, and that's why I'm not really going into an explanation of it, because to see his skull as evidence, and to see Leilani sitting there and not even just busting out bawling, crying, when I'm sitting at home looking at it and tearing up, because this is a little 20-month-old skull that should have skin and a brain, you know, and should be walking around and playing, and it's not, and he's not. He's there as an exhibit in a murder trial. There's something that does, you know, that there's something in me when somebody hurts a child. I will tell you, like much of somebody, that's why I utilize the Constitution and the law to make sure that people understand there are people out here that care for these cases and care for these children that their family threw away like garbage. Based on what I was hearing yesterday, I think it's obvious that I'm interested in hearing what the defense has to say about this whole Betty's at the zoo. I am at the zoo. I hurt when I saw that live, then wanted to reach through the TV and hug Justin. He couldn't get his face off the screen fast enough. Yeah, it was hard. I remember sitting in front of the memorial that we sponsored and promoted. I remember seeing how big and beautiful it was. And I remember just standing there, and I remember getting complete goosebumps all over my body and just crying. It was, you know, when you're out there and you're advocating and you're trying to get the world to understand she needs to be behind bars, there's no reason for her to be sleeping in her own bed comfortably when she did such destruction and caused so much pain to a child, an infant, like a toddler. I mean, we're not even talking, he wasn't an infant, okay? You know, he was 20 months old, but he was a toddler, a defenseless toddler. She wouldn't do that to a grown man or a grown woman, but she can do it to her own little boy. And that little boy looked just like her. Just like her. The same nose, the same eyes, the same face. What do you think of them not testing as much stuff or wearing gloves? Like I said, you know, law enforcement makes mistakes in cases, and those mistakes cost. That's why I'm so critical of law enforcement in these cases. We understand that they do make mistakes, and it's going to always happen, and I'll tell you why. Because they're human. And there's not one human that I know that does life perfectly, even law enforcement. So we're always looking there. What I hate and what I have disdain for is acting like they don't make mistakes, or lying to the public when they do make mistakes. That right there is a pet peeve. They work for the American people. When they make mistakes, they should own it. If I make mistakes, I have to own it. If you make mistakes, you have to own it. But what they do is they use word salad to make them look good when they messed up. And that is what I don't like. When you mess up, you mess up. And when you want to act like you aren't messing up, and you've done some things. Now the gloves and the testing of certain things, in all fairness, I've told you guys this before, I don't like law enforcement determining what's evidence and what is not evidence, because you just never know. You know what I'm saying? And that is in my opinion, a problem for me. Yes, they don't want to spend the money on testing every little thing, but this is a murder of a child, a toddler. You don't get to pick and choose what you think is evidence and what you don't think is evidence. Do I think it was critical in the case? In all fairness, I do not. I don't think that this was so egregious that it'll throw a case or, you know, cause a mistrial, or, you know, the state not proving their case. I think they've got enough with the lies, the breakdowns, and the, you know, the up and downs and the interviews and stuff like that. That from what I've seen yesterday and the day before, day 1 and day 2 of the trial, we're leading into day 3. Our beautiful, the real Me Too, is sitting in on the case, providing us updates. We're going to bring her on the show to kind of break down everything here in the near future. about what she's witnessing, how the community is feeling, how what's going on in the courthouse, what are the feelings. You know, you get all that from being boots on the ground and being there personally. You don't get that from the screen because there's so much that you miss. You only get to see what's going on or what the judge will allow you to see online or on these like court TV or law and crime type of situations. But there's so much more that goes on that the cameras aren't allowed to get or aren't allowed to share with the public. So being there in person, you get every bit of it, and you get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. You get to you know, view the people, there's just, you feel a lot more when you're there in person. And so the Real Me Too, we were supposed to be there together. She continued with that, knowing the situation, so I really do appreciate that. Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. E. It's nice to see you today. That was a funny video. Mockery put one up too. I got an email this morning, and I started busting out laughing. So you guys have kept me rolling for the last night and the first thing this morning, so I appreciate that. I appreciate that. We see and hear a lot when you're, yes, exactly, the Real Me Too. I'm here on behalf of oh, thank you. I love you, my love. And so we've been fighting for that child. I wanted to be there. I want to see her, and hopefully, depending on how long this trial is, maybe I could be there for the sentencing. I've always wanted her to see my face when she goes to prison for the rest of her life. Or I don't know if they're a death penalty state. But and I don't think, did they, the Real Me Too, can you tell me if they are seeking the death penalty? I think that they removed that off the table for other things. What other people don't understand or don't know because they haven't watched or followed this case or anything like that is that Leilani has a brother, and his name is Quinton, and he murdered somebody and is in prison. And he was in prison years before she murdered her son. Now, this is what I blame Billy Joe how? Because she screwed her whole damn family up. No DP. Okay, thank you. And for a woman to cause such havoc in her children's life and her children's upbringing that she's got 2 out of 3 children in jail for murder, that is an upbringing issue. The reason why her grandson is, and I blame Billy Joe for this. Now I blame Leilani, but I blame Billy Joe more. And I hope Billy Joe pays for what she has done to her grandson. Because she went to court and fought to have that child removed from Leilani's custody, citing drug use and physical abuse. And the courts granted Billy Joe Howe custody of all the children. Of all the children. And she was just about to evict her daughter out of her house when this happened. The babysitter is the one that should have been watching those children, and she was supposed to be watching those children, and Billy Joe's told her to release those children into Leilani's custody. And within 24 hours, Quinton Simon was dead. Within 24 hours, Quinton Simon was dead. I blame Billy Joe. She had a duty to protect her grandchildren. And she gave them right back to the woman she just took custody away from, citing drug abuse and physical abuse. What Billy Joe has to deal with from this point forward, I do not care. I do not pity her. She is not a victim. This is her responsibility. This is her fault. Those children were protected, and she handed them to a beast. And she didn't care because she didn't think her daughter would do it. Billy Joe will never have to pay the freedom consequence of her decision. But I hope she has the mental one that keeps her chained to her little pipe that she likes to smoke. And shame on the county for not, in the Department of Children and Family Services in that county, not making sure that Leilani was away from those children. They allowed Leilani to lay her head next to her children when she had already been, when the courts found there was abuse and drug use, and removed those children and put them in the custody of their grandmother. I am not ashamed of what I did out there. We did it lawfully, we did it legally, and of course the hate channels came and turned it into a circus, again, much like they're doing to the Sebastian Rogers case, by pointing the finger and saying, look what she's causing, talking about me, when I'm there advocating, and they're the one turning it into the circus. So, based upon what I've already seen, this is just the prosecution side, I think they've done a great job, even with not testing a few things. One thing about defense attorneys is they're going to shine a spotlight on things that are insignificant that could appear to be significant. So you didn't test the beer can? No, we tested the car. Well, if you didn't test the beer can, how are you going to know that somebody else wasn't in that car? Well, because their DNA would be in the rest of the car. You see that? They can't be in there drinking a beer can without touching the seat, without touching the door handle, without, you see what I'm saying? So, yeah, they even sent a clown to sit out inside of Quinton Simon's house to mock me. A 20-month-old was murdered inside that home, and they sent a clown out. Talk about disgusting. So if you're supporting these hate channels and watching them, I just want to show you exactly what you're supporting. You're supporting them sending clowns to sit in front of a 20-month-old child's murdered house. That is vile, Stillwaters. It absolutely is vile. It absolutely is vile. Lonnie admitted the cans were Danny's. Yeah. She also admitted that Danny never struck those children, was fearful. So he must have seen what those children were going through. Justice for baby Q. Thank you. It's me, Jen. Oh, 25 months. Oh my gosh. You're 2 years old with me. You're 2 years, 1 month. I love you. Thank you. No, stay away from them. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then you've got a situation. Hey, Dwight, it's nice to see you, my love. Then you got a situation, over in Sumner County, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, which they've done a lot of the same practices, except they've increased their criminal behavior, in my opinion. Brigading law enforcement, hatching up lies to try to have me thrown in jail, to smear me, to help Queen Bee's case. It's along with the parents that I believe that may have done something to their child. What? We'll find out. We all know what my opinion is. I don't think law enforcement's looking into it, but that's not here nor there. We're all watching the same thing. But some people are allowed to have their opinion, and some people are not, according to Sumner County Judge Ron Blanton. So, there was something that was sent to me. Do you know that Hendersonville is being sued? Hendersonville Police Department, not Sumner County Sheriff's Office, but Hendersonville Police Department was being sued for excessive force. And guess what they cited as the reason for their dismissal? Not proper service. Citing. And a federal judge agreed with them that you cannot advance a case without proper service. So not only that, but we have a very direct case that's going on inside that county right now, that because of improper service, a federal judge dismissed the case. And so I'm sitting here scratching my head and saying, everybody in this town knew about this, including that judge, because I'm sure he reads the news and is kept up on the news that's going on in his county, because good judges do that. Yet, he basically stated, in my case, the rules didn't apply to me, that I had the papers, therefore that's all that's needed, when it clearly defines in the state statutes for foreign service of process, which was not followed properly according to their own state statutes. So I found that interesting, very interesting. But, you know, there's rules for everybody else in that county, and then there's rules for Bullhorn Betty. So definitely does not follow even their own case law in their own community, which is a little odd for me. But we'll see what happens with this. I'm entitled to have my opinion about my own court case as well. And I know people frown upon that, just like everything else I do. So, you know, I could save a baby from a burning building. I say this all the time, and they'll blame me for starting the fire because they're idiots, right? They don't care. They don't care about these cases. All they care about is helping the bad guys. And we have got to understand that critical element, that these channels only care about helping the bad guy. And so we watch where these families go to, what channels that they go to, because we know that these channels are specifically set up to cause disruption, chaos, and distractions in these high-profile cases. We know that. So when we see these parents go to them and use them for support and protection, it really is a very telling action from whatever parent is going over there. And it makes our eyebrows raise, because let's face it, there's not a parent in this world, especially a college educated or military family, that would ever have association with those kinds of people. These are people that are felons. These are people that have sold drugs, have been convicted of violent crimes. So why would good parents that are missing their child go to felons and violent criminals that have platforms on this versus good channels, like, say, the Cold Case Foundation, like the Interview Room, rather, with Chris McDonough, or the Lab, because they see through their bullcrap, and they ask them the tough questions, and they know their egg is going to be cooked if they stick with this group of people versus that group of people. That group of people will do criminal activity. Oh, Crime Stories Obsessed. It's nice to see you, my love. If you guys don't know Crime Story Obsessed, she is almost a BFF from another country. I love her. She's so sweet. She's so sweet. And a first responder in the UK. She's just a beautiful soul. You know, we all have our struggles, and I know that, you know, and what I mean by that is her job's very mentally taxing in some of the stuff she does, and she's still able to come here and advocate for cases and, you know, really search. She was just like me. I can't remember how many times Crime Stories Obsessed sent me stuff that she found on the maps, and we were able to send them over to people in the area to go check them and either confirm or, you know, debunk something that may have been in a video. So it's been a great working relationship. I'm having a day off, so here for you. Oh, thank you. And so she was working all the way across the world, right? And she's sending me stuff, and we were able to send somebody out there and look at these things for her, you know, just to see if something's there that might be of evidentiary value or something of that the nature. So just to let you guys know how powerful the true crime genre is on this platform in an effort to get information and look for leads. You know, that's what it's about. We got people all over the world looking at these cases and really honing in on critical details and really trying to find areas that Sebastian may be in. And so a lot of that stuff came from Crime Stories Obsessed as far as locations related to the map. So thank you, Crime Stories Obsessed, for your dedication to these cases as well. Sebastian Rogers, as many of you guys know, if you've been following me for a while, you know the basic facts of the case. He was out the day before with his mom. He you know, went to several places, BJ's, the Texas Road, or excuse me, the bowling alley. It was my understanding that They didn't play bowl. They didn't bowl there. They were just there for the video games. And then once Sebastian was done playing the video games, they were able to go over to the Texas Roadhouse and have some dinner. And then they leave, according to what Seth had said in an interview, is that he was able to preview this what's now dubbed the proof of life video. And this was described, we never saw the proof of life video, but the way it was described is that it was a camera outside of the Texas Roadhouse, and you could see them leaving and getting into the vehicle. So there was no doubt in anybody's mind that Sebastian, because I think that did cross some people's minds, you know, could this have happened prior to? We've had the Elijah Vu case where it appeared that even though he was reported missing on February 20th, it appears that he lost his life on February 16th, because we were able to sleuth, and we did find, through the help of some other people, we were able to find the last proof of life video for Elijah Vu going into the Napa Auto Parts store. And after that, there was no trace of him. So it was our belief early on in that case, which again we got right, that he didn't disappear on the 20th, but disappeared the afternoon or into the evening of the 16th. I'm interested in seeing those that information revealed as well. We have a high batting average on this channel with our assessments of these cases, whether a judge in Sumner County wants to acknowledge the work that we do or not, or just wants to take 7 months of work. And because I'm passionate and I don't mind telling somebody to get bent, and they were able to take all of the hostility because of the cyberbullying I had dealt with, and the physical stalking that I had to deal with, and the threats of harm to me when I went out there in June, and they were able to capture some of those frustrating moments, and they seamed them all together and out of context for the most impact, even though if the judge actually saw the entire thing, he would realize that everything that was said was not true. But again, it was another video that should never have been brought into and should have been objected to. So I'm not sure how everything's going to go with that case. I really don't care. You know, somebody's saying that I probably shouldn't say anything about the judge, and maybe I shouldn't. But at the end of the day, I feel like he violated my rights knowingly and willfully. And because of that, you know, I really don't care. I'm one of those people that are very vocal. Part of my job is you guys seeing, you know, some of the processes I do and the emotions I go through covering these cases. That's all part of the show. You know, they're authentic moments. They're not hatched up or anything like that. And you know, it's okay. It's okay for me to scream in the phone or in the camera to my audience. It's okay for me to show my frustration to my audience. It wasn't directed at them, other than when I was stalked and I lost my cool. I was literally ready to go get picket signs and buy a bullhorn from the Walmart. You guys know that. And I had to remind myself, you know, I had a short amount of time to get as much investigative work done as possible, you know. So I did what I could. I pushed my petty, you know, my frustration and BS, and I went and had a steak and got back to work. You know, we let it bother us for all of a half hour of the frustration, and we got back to work and got back to business and got back to getting what I had, the goals and all the stuff I needed to get while I was out there. And we were able to accomplish everything in addition to dealing with all of that. So I was very pleased with the outcome of that trip. I never knew that they would lie under oath, but you know what, we should have known, right? Because I believe they lied to law enforcement. But that really is, you know, what happened. I feel railroaded by that county, and they intentionally did that. And I'll keep the rest of my commentary about other things to myself until in a more appropriate time for that stuff to be released to everybody. Sebastian Rogers ended up going home. We estimate about 6:40. There is a neighbor that has stated that they did not see Sebastian arrive home because the car pulls into the garage, and that had caused a little bit of controversy on social media related to, did they do something before they got home? And I think the answer lies in the fact that it appears that they left the roadhouse, according to this neighbor, they had left this roadhouse, and it appears that they would have gotten home in the appropriate time of travel. You know, we learned this early on in the case, that they arrived at home somewhere between 6:40. It doesn't leave a whole lot of time to do anything, you know, what the rumors have been about him not coming home. I've always maintained, I believe the child came home that evening. I think that there's several things, you know, the timing's one, but it's also the shoes in the home that really solidify for me that this child did make it home that evening, and I've maintained that I truly believe Sebastian made it home. Now, what happened from the time he arrived home to the morning of February 26th around 6 a.m., that's where the cloudiness, that's where all of the controversy, where all of the inconsistencies, where we found flat out lies fall in. It's from, you know, that 6:45 time marker to 6 a.m. time marker that is really a hot mess express. And every time we hear more and more interviews, because, you know, when they're giving the interviews, it's not that clear, you know, you're hearing that singular interview. But being this many months, you know, into this case, we have all those interviews we can watch back to back and instantly start hearing the inconsistencies and instantly start hearing the lies. And then, you know, going over to other ones where it was on these criminal channels, these felon channels, where they're more relaxed, which is a little crazy for me, but they were relaxed on these, and they were joking around and, you know, laughing and having a great time and living the best life ever on these channels, right? And so they let their guard down and they let more information out. For example, one of the conversations, and I believe it was on Fat Lips channel, that the dogs all, you know, the mom does not sleep with, the dogs don't sleep in the bed unless the stepfather is at work. And when the stepfather is at work, the mom typically puts the dogs in the bed with her. And this is, according to the stepfather, this is, she spoils the dogs when he's not there, you know? So that all came out later. And everybody's like, wait a minute, it wasn't Bullhorn Betty. I didn't hear the statement because I don't watch Fat Lips channel, right? We've got programs that pull what we need to pull, and I don't listen to her, you know? So I didn't catch all of that until people started sending it to me. It's like, oh my God, did you hear this? Did you hear this? And I'm like, yeah, no, I didn't sit on, you know, like everybody thinks I sit on YouTube and listen to all these channels. I promise you, you guys do all that for me. You guys send me what I need. I don't ever listen to these until if something is sent to me, and then I'll look under the hood because I read my emails, right? And if somebody attaches it, I go through the emails. Sometimes I don't respond, and I don't mean to do that. I sometimes just watch the stuff, capture what I need, and delete the email and forget to, you know, put the thumb up and the heart. And I realize that there's some emails like Clarissa that I was typing her name in there because I remember her emailing me, and I'm like, you know what? Because I was wearing your shirt yesterday. I'm like, I don't remember ever giving her a shout out, you know, giving her a plug. And I'm like, I was just sitting there. I don't know where it popped in my head, so I started typing in and trying to find her email because I remember she wrote me a while ago. And I see two emails. I had the one email that I responded, but I had two other emails that were just sitting there with, you know, bold, which tells me I didn't read them. So I've missed, you know, there are some emails with some of the stuff that I've gone through that I just couldn't go back and read because I was so busy, and there were so many emails that I just had to skip over, and figured if they were important that you know, the people would reach out to me a second time. Sometimes you have to do that, guys. So don't be shy. If you guys didn't receive a response or an email and you want to make sure I got it, please reach out a second time with the email and just say, did you receive this? And I'll give you a thumbs up or say, yes, I did, thank you so much, or something to that effect, or a heart, or, you know, whatever the case may be. So I do apologize for not getting to everybody. I thought I was doing really good, but I can tell you there's a lot of bold stuff, especially over the last 2 weeks, that I'm pretty sure I've missed. If you guys didn't get a response from me or it was super important, please consider sending that to me again. I will try to get to all the unread messages in my inbox today, because really it's been very difficult. You know, we've limited excuse me, I have been drinking milk. I still have that little cough back there. It's been a little difficult and a little challenging here. You know, we don't go anywhere because, again, we're rationing gas. I know DeSantis I still believe that we still have units here. They brought in tankers because there's no electricity to a lot of our gas pumps. So they have stations here where they pump it right from the tank, and you can get up to 10 gallons of free gas because there's no way to pay for it. We have no internet, right? So not everybody, like there's some people that can't even get into their bank or pull cash out, you know. If you're in this county and you're in a situation where your bank isn't open, or you can't have access to it because of lack of power, my suggestion would be try to go to find a store in the community, something that's open, and see if you can get cash back, like buy a stick of gum or a soda pop and see if you can get cash back so you have cash on your person. That would be good. I can tell you if it wasn't for Andrea, I'd be in that same boat because my bank has been down. I don't know if it's been back up, but I haven't been able to find my bank any open. They've all been closed because of lack of power. So without that help, I would be a sitting duck myself. You know, you don't think of things like that. You know, in everything I've done in the last 45 years being in this town, I've never been out of power this long, ever. I mean, we're usually back up 24, 36 hours. We have power. I mean, even I think Irma or Ian, we went out without power. They got our power back up fairly quickly, but it was our internet that was down. In my opinion, Sebastian was not moved or transitioned because there was some kind of trail of food, meds, identification for med. I'm not quite understanding that. It's 32 degrees here in Missouri. This is the best YouTube channel, and I love what Betty is doing. Aw, thank you, Brenda. God bless you for that. We went through this in 2004, 2 hurricanes back to back, no power for a month. Oh, please don't tell me that. I don't want to go through that. It sounds like my power might be back up by the end of this week. We'll see. Hot and hellish, but you survive, have a baby. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And have a baby 9 months later. What were you doing in that storm if you had a baby? I better stop. I better stop. I'm just joking, Stillwaters. I'm just joking. You know, when you got nothing better to do. The timing. I'm just saying the timing seems awfully sus. I bet it did. Stillwater said our county had a birth explosion. There was no TV, there was no alcohol, there was no food. I mean, what do you do? I passed sometime. All 4 flying doves. It's nice to see you. I went through Katrina and Isaac. It was rough. Katrina was devastating, especially for Louisiana, that dam. Good gracious, I don't think anybody. That was just, that was hard to see and hard to watch. I will tell you that. That was hard to see and hard to watch, much like North Carolina. Not that any other state didn't have deaths and stuff like that. It was the mudslides that I think I wasn't thinking about, you know, is mudslides. I mean, mudslides came through and cleared out areas. And you're talking, this is not just water. This is thick mud. You know, mudslide, thick mud with a whole bunch of debris in it, and it's a lot, in my opinion, a lot worse. It has a lot more force because of the sheer weight of it. Simultaneously, a good friend of mine lost everything over in Fort Charlotte, Punta Gorda. Well, it's definitely, I can tell you, we don't usually have, because we don't usually have this direct of a hit to our community. like we did with Milton, but Governor DeSantis came right down the road from us yesterday at that shake station. You should look it up. He walked in it, a shake station, received a significant amount of damage to their building as well. A lot of people did. We watched Alvarez, which is a family-owned Mexican restaurant. Very good, very tasty. I love the place. They lost everything. That was just right over in Palmetto. They literally lost everything. The building is gone. We looked at the Palmetto Packing House. Now this is further north, okay? Not further south by my house. This is further north. This is closer to Tampa than Sarasota. And the packing house, my mom and I, when we were driving by to go check out my house Sunday, we drove by it, and like their main building is still there, but I don't know if that's the manufacturing buildings back there, but they literally are falling over. They're not salvageable. They are a total loss. The buildings, 2 solid buildings, are a total loss. A total loss. It was, it's hard to see. It's hard to see fully concrete constructed homes hallowed. Hallowed. The shell's there, but nothing else is there. It's crazy seeing houses uprooted and just at an angle. These are people's lives. These are homes. I have a lot of extensive exterior damage to my property, but the home itself is structurally sound. No busted windows, no holes in the roof, but everything else on the outside is bad. It's bad. I wasn't expecting that. You know, when I heard Glenn told me that my roof, my shed split in 2. I figured it was that shed, but for some reason I thought maybe because, I had that rinky-dink shed. The rinky-dink shed, guys, stood up to Hurricane Milton. I still can't figure it out. But my big shed that was structurally sound crumpled. Actually didn't crumple, it split in half. I think it was because of the tree splitting it. I can't, until the tree is removed, I can't even get in there to dismantle the metal building or find what to do with all the stuff inside that shed. Like I've got no place to put it. That's where it went. So I'm kind of a little devastated. The property's got to be cleaned up by me. I could be cited if I don't, start working on it and getting it done. And it's a lot of work. It's hard, and I've still got to try to find, go get a chainsaw or rent a chainsaw or something like that. It's a lot of cleanup. It's going to be extensive cleanup. It's very hard work. It's a lot of heavy work. It's a lot of manual labor, but there's nobody that's going to be able to do it but me. I can't afford to have a cleaning crew come in there and do it. It's too extensive. I mean, it would cost me $10,000-$20,000. I mean, probably a tornado from Milton. Yeah, I wasn't in the area. I've got to look at that. I didn't even look at the tornado track. I just wasn't, I can tell you I wasn't expecting it. Glenn did not tell me to the tune of what was going on in the backyard, and I couldn't get a hold of him. So I called my ex-husband and seen if he heard about his place and whether, because he doesn't live that far away from me, and I was going to gauge. But when he told me he was back in Bradenton, I asked him if he would mind going over and checking on the house, that I couldn't get a hold of the neighbor. I was getting concerned, and I just wanted to know what I'm walking into. I didn't really want to have the surprise, and he just basically, he didn't tell me a whole lot, but other than you're effed, and I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, the neighbor's trees are in your yard, like multiple trees are in your yard. And I'm like, that's when it kind of hit me that it was a lot more extensive than I thought. My whole entire property has been completely trashed by Milton, and I just had it cleaned up because of Halloween. I just got the yard cleaned up on October 6th finally from Halloween, which hit me on, I think, when did they hit? September 26th. So it took me 10 days to get everything cleaned up from Halloween, and that stuff ended up getting scattered all over the front yard because of Milton. So it's just been one thing after another, I can tell you that. But we'll get through it. Anyways, getting back on topic, Sebastian, as we were talking, you know, the neighbors were, they, at the beginning we heard that the one neighbor said that they asked the law enforcement, you know, they have to have the trash out. Was the trash taken out that night? And they said yes. We started learning that that was Sebastian's chores to take out the trash. And so that was the other prong that made me believe that Sebastian had made it home as well. So I truly believe the child made it home. And so again, what the issue is between those hours that have been so inconsistent and quite frankly flat out lies that were found through a multitude of interviews that these people provided to the public, that these people wanted to go on to these social media channels and wanted to let people know their story and wanted to make sure that they were self-preservation interviews to talk to people about what they're going through and have no concern for the child that's missing. If you look at these interviews, it's more about them than it is about the missing child. When you look at Seth's interview, it's more about the missing child than it is about him. So you have to take that into consideration when analyzing these cases, because that does mean something. There's something there when you start hearing stuff like that. The lack of emotion, concern, urgency in finding the child has never been there. They seem to be, you know, I've dealt with all of these cases. We've dealt with many, many cases all over the country. And you see that from case to case, you always see the frustration with the family and law enforcement. No family ever feels like they're doing enough, you know, for their child. And so when you hear like Don Wells saying, yeah, you know, we understand that they've got other kids to worry about, let them do their job and let them move on to other kids. And then when you hear the same type of commentary coming from these parents as well, it's not a good look. It doesn't make us feel warm and fuzzy inside, because we know the behaviors that we're accustomed to seeing from parents that lose their children, have missing children, have deceased children. We see the pain in them. We see the urgency in them. We could see it in their eyes. We get very concerned when there's no lack of urgency. For example, a lot of you guys don't like Jen Soto, you know, Madeline Soto's mom, because she allowed her daughter to sleep in bed with her stepfather. And I guess they weren't married, but you know, he had been in her life since she was a young girl at 8 years old, and apparently since he has been in her life with this child from 8 years old, he has been saying her since then. There was so many documentation. The stuff that was in that probable cause affidavit is enough to make your stomach turn. Is enough to make your stomach turn. So when we don't see lack of urgency or, you know, anger, you know, something like this, when you find out, let me tell you something. If I ever know, and I'll tell this, they can use it against me in a court of law, I don't care. I will tell you this right now. If somebody did that to my child or my grandchildren, it would take a whole force, a law enforcement body, to hold me back from trying to tear that person's head off. I will tell you that. Southern, that was sad. But you know what? The silver lining is that really was a gift, because we'll hear these two people, Madeline Soto and Sebastian Rogers, both disappeared on the same exact day. Madeline was found, Sebastian has not. I was not affected by the flood, but was there, everybody, to help my community. Exactly. Jen Soto has done a lot more than, it's just disgusting, yeah. I didn't want to believe it, but you know, some of the interviews have been released from other interviews she did after Stefan was arrested, and that's kind of, I think she was I think she was just deluded. I think she was on a lot of too much psycho medication. I don't want to give her excuses, but I've also heard some of the stuff she said to her daughter. And those things are very disturbing for me. Me and my mom have been, you know, as many of you, I'm sure you guys have had disagreements with your moms before. My mom has never, ever talked to me like that. And trust me, I was, you know, in my younger youth, I was God's worst child to a parent, you know. My mom still never said the stuff that she said to Madeline to me. Did I push my mom's buttons? Did she get angry with me? Was she spitting bullets at times? You darn tootin'. You know, you darn tootin'. She definitely, I knew what buttons to push and how to push them, right? And to think that my mom's never talked to me, even at my older self, the way that this young 13-year-old child was talked to, and to think that probably some of her behavior had to do with the abuse she was receiving. And I always say, when you see a major behavioral change in your child, you need to start paying attention. Don't just blame it on, you know, their being a teenager, or, you know, this, that, and the other. You need to find out, is that behavior because of some type of abuse that they're scared to talk to you about? You know, that is really very important to me, and important to everybody else. If you have a child, you know, it's all about, you know, identifying signs and, you know, stepping in and helping. Nobody wants, at least in my chat, I don't believe anybody here wants anything happening to their children or anything like that. And children do have behavioral changes. You know, when they become teenagers, they feel like mom and dad need to give them some space, need to let them be the adult, you know, because they can think for themselves. And, you know, it never works that way. We know our children's brains aren't developed and they can be easily manipulated, and peer pressure is a real thing, right? So that's why parents are parents, right? We're not, we believe in you know, not being our child's friend until later in life, and being their parent. That's what good parents need to be doing. So there's going to be some behavioral changes going on with the child, but at the end of the day, is it hormonal type of, you know, growing changes, or is there something else there? And I think parents need to take the time and just explore it a little bit. Just check, you know, their child's behavior. Is this what you're thinking? And questioning them. You'd be surprised when your child believes that they can have an open communication with you, what that child be willing to say. Because I can tell you, even when I was younger, I did lie to my parents a lot, but when it came to serious stuff, I told them the truth, whether they liked hearing it or not. I remember my mom blamed my friend for something I did, and I said, did you ever think that I'm the one that orchestrated that? It's always so easy to blame somebody else, but it was my fault, you know, and I didn't want my friend getting in trouble, and I took responsibility. So, you know, but did I lie to my parents when I was younger? You darn tootin'. Like I said, you gotta be careful. We all done it. We've all grown up, right? And things were a lot different in our times than they are here, you know. I mean, when we were growing up, I mean, we had, you know, alcohol and pot, you know. That's what we got our hands on whenever we were younger. These kids are getting, you know, they're jumping right over the alcohol and pot and going right to these substances that can kill them, you know. They always said that alcohol or pot was gateway drugs. Well, it ain't anymore. You know, with all these drugs that can take our children away, you know, in all fairness, I almost welcome them smoking pot at this point. You know, just saying, you know, I'd rather them go, you know, maybe they'd be too out of it to think of anything past it, you know. But you guys know I don't advocate for any of that use at all, because I just think that it leads to bad things. But I realize some people use certain things for medical purposes and stuff like that. However, you know, with the significant, we were the epicenter. Manatee County was the epicenter at one time. And it's crazy because I lost a lot of friends. But the crazy thing is that I lost a lot of friends not knowing that they were even associated with stuff like that. you know, to OD. It was shocking. There was a lot of things. I mean, some of them I knew when they left high school. They went down the wrong road, and you kind of say, well, you know, it was kind of expected. But there were a lot that I had no clue. People living in $1 million homes had no clue. It's the most insane thing I have ever seen. And I'm like, what would cause it? And it's because the first use. It only took the first use and it was done for them. So this is not something you can play with. I mean, you have to abstain. If any child's saying, well, I did it once, don't worry about it, you need to really heavily look at that, because from my understanding, this stuff is so addictive that one use, it's all it takes. It's all it takes, but we need to look more over what made them do it. What was going on in their life? Is it peer pressure? Something like that? I don't know. But I'm not sure what is going on inside of the home or with Sebastian. We've heard from his biological father, Seth Rogers, that there were some very concerning things. So much so he lost his cool on court TV. You know, and I gotta think, you know, some of this stuff. I actually watched it because Hindsight put it up. Thank you, Hindsight, by the way. Hindsight does a lot of great work. If you haven't subbed up to Hindsight, please consider doing so. Another great person working to find answers and working to locate the whereabouts of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Captured all that, and I'm glad she did, because again, it was a little spicy. It's not really the forte of Tony or Seth, but it shows that after almost 8 months of this nonsense, they've just had it. You know, they just had it. It was a big a blow to the work that we're doing. But, you know, when you strip everything away, you can see it very clearly what truly transpired and what happened. And I'm praying that we can captivate that to a higher court and explain it in such a way that this could be undone. I believe in the law. I've always believed in the law. I do not believe in corruption. I think when you start seeing stuff like this, community activism is necessary. I hope the community gets out and starts, you know, doing knocking and, you know, door knocking and handing out flyers for their candidates, doing phone banking for their candidates. You're not going to change the environment in your community until you step up to the plate and start working to change the environment in your community. I can tell you I do that in my community. When I see a problem, I absolutely get active. I go to my school board meetings if necessary. I go to my county meetings if necessary. We fight here for the rights of the citizens. I'm you know, no nonsense person, very simple. I like lower taxes and I hate waste of public funds. And when I start seeing that people are not spending our public funds the way the community needs, or makes horrible rules like allowing the developers to build up to the line of the main roads and the environmental areas, it really upsets me. I'm not an environmentalist, okay? I can tell you that right now. I'm the furthest thing from an environmentalist, but I do believe that there are necessary preservation metrics we need to have in place for our community. Whether I'm an environmentalist or not, I'm a smart cookie. I realize these things are happening, and you know what it showed? It showed our county commission being bought and paid for by yet another developer, and you guys know how I feel about that. So what did we do? We worked very hard, and for a second time, we had to fire our county commission. This is not easy to do. We have been successful twice at doing this in our own community. We do have a proven track record that our methods do work on informing the community and getting these yahoos out of their position so we can move our county forward. We found over $500 million in a silo while they're trying to raise our taxes, and our infrastructure is falling apart. We instilled a body that was going to put that $500 million to work for this community and building our roads, making them bigger, and making it more convenient. Yes, we have to go through the building process, which is inconvenient. But the final result is more convenience for our people. So I hope that people in the community of Sumner County, you know, I can show you everything I can do. I can give you the playbook. I can put you guys in touch with the right people to make the right changes in your community. I hope that somebody and the people of that community have enough, but we're definitely going to shine a spotlight on what's going on with me in that community to expose what is the underbelly. And I truly do believe it's an underbelly. Why it happened here, I don't know. We have our rights in this country, and those should not be infringed upon by our government. And I feel like our government went way overboard in that county. They did not have the authority to do what they did. They're doing it, but I truly don't believe that they have the authority to do it. So everything, I don't trust them. You guys know that. And while there may be some that think ill advice, that I should not be discussing the case in the way I do, I believe that sweeping stuff under the rug or keeping my mouth quiet has been detrimental to my case. I think that being vocal, being active, and letting people know what is going on has been always the most beneficial for me and my channel. Because of what happened, because of the arrest, we noticed that soon after my arrest, there was 2 people that stepped up to the plate, Dog the Bounty Hunter and Nick the Hat. And then the FBI came right after that and dropped a $50,000 reward. So we have, you know, by this commentary, by exposing this, by being vocal, we brought a lot of resources in to help with the Sebastian Rogers case. If people didn't know what I was going through at the hands of this county, we wouldn't have these resources. We wouldn't have the help of Dog the Bounty Hunter. We wouldn't have the help of Nick the Hat. And what your opinion of them may be negative, I can tell you my opinion of them is very positive. Very positive. I can tell you these 2 people give a crap. And they give a crap about this child. And they give a crap about finding this child and putting the people responsible for this child's disappearance behind bars. I can tell you that. I can tell you that. They want the people responsible for the disappearance of this child, much like me and much like you, behind bars. And depending on the condition of this child, that'll depend on how long. That will depend on how long. So guys, let's get over here. Mockery Mania, it's nice to see you. Don't forget to hit Mockery Mania up. Thank you for the $5 super sticker. We have It's Me Jen. She didn't tell us it was her 2-year anniversary, but we have a 5-month anniversary. I don't have my birthday hat on or my birthday glasses, and I'm not singing you happy birthday today because we're a month behind. You should have told me. It's your fault. No, I'm just joking. We love It's Me Jen. Crime Stories Obsessed is our member of this crazy family we call the Coffee Club. Welcome to the insane asylum for the last month. You seem happy and healthy, you know, for it being an insane asylum. If you guys want to know why I added that, it's because of that DR guy that is a New York detective, right? A retired New York detective. Okay, well, then do detective work. So now I add the insane asylum since I'm a psychopath, but he's not a narcissist. Okay. I don't know what he says, but I got feelings. I cry. I'm emotional. There's no doubt about that. So his assessment and using that word is a polar opposite of who I am. So we all know that, people that know me. And then Jen says, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, missing 15-year-old white male, 5'5", 120 pounds. Please call 1-800-TBI-FIND if you have information. I don't know if they take information at 1-800-TBI-FIND. I think their best bet in my personal opinion, is reporting any and all leads to the Memphis FBI office. There's something going on. And we're watching what's going on in Martinsville with TBI. We're watching what TBI has done to the Sebastian Rogers case. We've watched TBI in the Summer Wells case. You know, I don't really have a lot of high regard for, do they find people? They absolutely find people that are missing. It's the unfound missing people and their protocols and their practices that I have a problem with. And I am vocal about that. And because they don't like my commentary, they want to throw me in jail and throw away the key. Well, you can't do that in America. But they're trying. They are trying. And I find that disgusting. I find that disgusting. Wholly disgusting. And I hope whatever they're doing to me happens to one of their family members. That's what I hope. Because what goes around in this world comes around in this world. But you know what? When you have corruption, the bad guys never have to deal with it because they're always protected. Now, is that the case here? I don't know. But it sure looks like it. Turtle Gang says, #1 fan. Aw, thank you, my love. Ask me about my butthole. It's a donut, okay? The emoji's a donut. Just calm down, folks. Calm down. Thanks so much. Melanie, it's thank you so much for the heart. And it's me, Jen. Thank you for the big happy grin. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, again, still hasn't been found all these months later. It seems like law enforcement, as well as half the family, are more focused on me and my commentary from Florida than they are about a child missing in their own backyard. I find it disgusting, appalling, and I'm going to keep talking about that disgusting and appalling feel I have. The disdain I have for not following the law, not following the state statutes in their own county, but applying those state statutes to, say, Hendersonville Police Department, but not for Bullhorn Betty. I find that appalling. I find it disgusting, and it just shows another level of improper behavior of government officials, in my opinion. Level safe from the storm. Time for some. Yeah, Betty, gotta be careful. I can't say that. We are Sebastian's boys. We back Tony, Seth. Yes, thank you. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers here for you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Machete, correcte. Machete, correcte. I think I got it. I think I got all the players. And then somebody was like, pivot. I don't think Mr. E, maybe he get it. Mr. E, did you get it? The whole pivot thing that was posted is that was Dave Schwimmer, when he was doing the couch, he was trying to get the couch up to it. They were trying to get it up the stairways, and he's like, pivot, pivot. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. You guys did a great job on that little mini skit. That was good. That was good. So we all know that my machete is used for the woods. Okay, so let's make sure we have that out there. I've never threatened anybody with any damn weapon. That's such horse garbage I've never seen in my life. And again, why wasn't it objected to? I don't know. Why wasn't it challenged? Again, I don't know. There was a lot of things that I'm very confused about. So we'll get to the bottom of it, and when we do, we will make sure we keep you guys abreast of what's going on. When it comes to my legal stuff, there's only so much I can say because, you know, obviously that stuff is attorney-client, and it's attorney-client for a very good and clear purpose. I can't disclose what strategies, what anything's going on. I can really just be very generic, baseline. You know, this is, you know, and there may be a point when I can't even do that. So just trust and believe that that we're working very, very hard. We're fighting very, very hard. We're trying to bring this boy home and trying to end these distractions that keep coming into this case for no other purpose than to keep this child from being found. Did they have an attorney with your attorney too? Did they have an with your attorney? Have an in with your attorney? I don't know. Honestly, I really don't. I don't know. I can just say that I don't feel comfortable today. I'll say that. I'll say that to keep everything, you know, above board. I really don't know. I love my coffee club. Betty, you do great things. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think you need a different, TA, yeah. We'll see how everything works out. I'm trying to get approval from the team to go ahead and start the GoFundMe efforts, but we're just not quite there yet. Even though I'm at a ticking time clock, we're just not quite there yet. There's a couple things that need to happen before we start funding, doing funding, raising funds for this this fight. So we're just not quite there yet, but we will be. We will be there soon. I've had hundreds, almost close to 1,000 people reach out to me. They say they're absolutely on board, absolutely ready to support. So that gives me a lot of comfort and relief. So I thank all the beautiful people out there that are stepping up to the plate and helping me out. I know you guys do not have to do this. This is my channel. What goes on here is my responsibility and everything like that. But I think we as a whole understand that when you're being, when people are trying to silence and violate your rights, there's just something a little bigger that needs to happen. And we're definitely going to fight. We're definitely going to give. We're not going down without a fight, period. This is, in my opinion, a wrong ruling. It's improper, and I'm not going to believe otherwise until somebody tells me there's no other moves to make. We've got to go through this. Okay, and then that's what we'll do. And until that day happens, we're going to continue to fight, and we're going to continue to fight hard. Why? Because we care about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, and we care about Seth Rogers getting the answers he needs. And we have rights in this country that allow me to do the job that I'm doing. So we're going to continue to do the job that I'm doing because I have a right to do it. So you guys have an amazing day. God bless each and every one of you. Don't forget to be fearless. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. More importantly, be kind to one another. Unless they're a troll, gaslighter, or just an all-around POS, then pray for them.